From Lagos, the nation's commercial capital, this is the news at 10, live from Channels Television. Reporting tonight, Ijoma Oyato.
Hello and welcome. Tonight, Supreme Court orders retrial of Muhammad Abacha as federal government files fresh charges against him. Catholic Archbishop of Abacha cautions politicians against divisive tendencies, preaches national unity. House of Representatives may begin public hearing on the economy. And US President Barack Obama announces new intelligence program, says civil liberties must be respected.
And on business news tonight, interbank rates eased to an average of 10.3%.
And on sports news tonight, Super Eagles defender Elderson Echejele joins French big spenders AS Monaco on a 4.5-year deal.
The freedom enjoyed by Muhammad Abacha, son of the late head of state General Sani Abacha, may be hanging in the balance as the Supreme Court today ordered the retrial of Muhammad Abacha for criminal charges. The federal government is back in court with a 123-count charge against Muhammad for allegedly receiving rent belonging to the federal government. The accused person is alleged to have taken possession of properties originally belonging to the federal government but were coveted by his father while he was head of state. Muhammad Abacha had challenged the federal government, claiming that the immunity enjoyed by his father while in office be extended to him, and that having forfeited some of the family's property confiscated by the government, he should not be prosecuted in line with the provisions of Decree 53 of 1999. The court therefore held that immunity does not extend beyond the tenure of office, and even if the late head of state were alive, he can be prosecuted for a criminal offense, not to talk of his son, who is an ordinary citizen. Now, perhaps it's a public hearing that would bring out the needed information to finally clear the air on the state of the nation's economy. This is the reason why the House Committee on Finance is to begin a public hearing to examine first the response of the coordinating Minister of the Economy and the Minister of Finance, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, to the House, and then examine the issues raised on the state of the economy. Dr. Okonjo-Iweala has sent a reply to 50 questions posed to her, but the House members do not seem satisfied with her answers. To this end, the clerk of the Committee on Finance, Farouk Mustafa, says the members are in receipt of the 102-page response, but a public hearing would commence where all concerned Nigerians would get information on the NNPC missing funds and other lapses made in the economy. But no date has been announced for the hearing. The representatives from 20 countries and development partners have been discussing ways to stop illicit financial inflows and accelerate the recovery of stolen funds. At a forum on innovative financing for development in Abuja, participants examined ways to draw from innovative sources to finance development in their countries. Well, there, the Minister of Finance, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, spoke for Nigeria and noted that every country's domestic development and the efficient execution of its national planning is largely dependent on its ability to mobilize and appropriately utilize its domestic resources.
This meeting, comprising representatives of finance and national planning sectors from 27 countries and global development partners, is the 12th plenary session of the leading group on innovative financing for development. Discussions in this session are dedicated to tracking existing instruments and related actions in development financing and charting new courses for innovative financing across nations, key among which domestic resources mobilization has been identified.
So creative means of raising such needed funds as well as innovative ways of implementing development programs are the key thrust of innovative financing, and we, the members of the LD, must strive to deconstruct the challenges of definition and perceptions related to the concept.
There's a significant gap in terms of our tax effort that we could tap as financing. So for me, the first innovative financing is the mobilization of our own domestic resources in order to help finance our own development.
For the development partners, however, particular concern must be paid to the implosive growth population of developing countries, dwindling financial aid, and the risk of neglecting a group that could offer solutions in some critical sectors.
The vibrant and modern rural economies hold the key to meeting so many of our development goals. We need them to shape food systems. We need them for the survival of ecosystems, and of course, we need them for the health and nutrition of the world's population. We believe that smallholder family farmers in the developing world are key part of the solution to food security and nutrition.
The keywords here are development and finance, and for every country, 2 or more innovative mechanisms must apply among those for discussion at this session, such as solidarity taxes, migrant remittances and international mobilization, impact investing and pool mechanisms, among others. Omelogo Nadi, Channels Television News.
To politics now, President Goodluck Jonathan has told the international community that the 2015 elections will be free and fair. The president gave the assurance when he hosted members of the diplomatic community to a New Year cocktail at the presidential villa. While soliciting the support of the international community in the conduct of the elections, the president also urged the diplomats to participate in the nation's centenary celebration. President Jonathan also appreciated some nations for their support for Nigeria in her fight against terrorism. More than 40 ambassadors and high commissioners attended the event. Meanwhile, ahead of the 2015 elections, the Catholic Archbishop of Abuja, Cardinal John Onaiyekan, is asking politicians to brace up for the challenges of enthroning true democratic ideals. Addressing a news conference in Abuja, Cardinal Onaiyekan frowned on the increasing cases of electoral malpractices and the culture of impunity, saying if the situation is left unchecked, Nigeria may never witness the conduct of another election. He also took a swipe at some members of the international community for criticizing President Goodluck Jonathan over his assent to the anti-gay bill.
We can disintegrate. It's possible. The famous prophecy of some people who say Nigeria will disintegrate in 2015. You don't have to be a prophet to know that if we continue to behave the way we are behaving, recklessly allowing impunity to go, and being so concerned with our own selfish reasons that we don't care about what concerns all of us, then you don't need any prophet to tell you that it cannot hold together that way. But since we know what it is that destroys a nation, it is up to us to decide whether we want to take that path or whether we want to take the path of good common sense. And if we continue that way, the final end is that we shall end up with no election anymore. So we are back again to what I said. If we continue the bad habits that we are now carrying on and we do nothing to change it, obviously, naturally, we will destroy this nation.
Catholic Archbishop of Abuja, Cardinal John Onaiyekan. Staying with politics, the Independent National Electoral Commission has warned politicians in Ekiti State not to campaign before 90 days to the governorship elections. The INEC resident electoral commissioner, Mr. Hussaini Halilupai, who spoke to journalists in Ado-Ekiti, the state capital, appealed to politicians to abide by electoral rules. Mr. Halilupai also explained that compliance with these provisions are mandatory for the aspirants as well as the political parties, and the official date of the election will be announced soon.
The period of campaigning in public by every political party shall commence 90 days before polling day and end 24 hours prior to that day, which is election day. It therefore goes without saying that compliance with these provisions is mandatory for the aspirants as well as the political parties and the election management body to ensure that due process is strictly observed and that at the same time create an enabling environment to nurture the process to stand the test of time. We should therefore exercise patience for formal pronouncement from the appropriate authority on the specific date of the election.